should we? So shall we start?
I feel we shall start. Yes.
So may we start? That's what I should have said.
Yeah,
Yes.
close enough. No one's going to call us out on that. Well, and there's not a good response to that.
Unless you're doing the backup part. May we no start?
Yes, I know, but I'm not doing the backup.
Okay.
It's
so
just
this
perfect on its own,
yes.
you know?
I feel like this. There we go. Felt like I'm looming over this thing like the
I know. We have to be so
feature
much more
from the
conscious
wall.
of our
Yeah.
appearance these days. I mean, you'd think that this would make me happy. It normally does, but
You're right.
normally
Just
makes me
sitting there
very
looking,
happy.
going, I'm so pretty. That part.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then like in Keith Richards is here, or sometimes where Contours is here, or my bookshop. Like I just love it.
Yeah. I get that.
Maybe I'll have to. I should have done Tallulah's from the Tantra chair
Oh, that is what she would have wanted.
with the bar cart and worn like a really awesome, like haltery dress and just lounged.
Yeah. Should we hold for 20 minutes while you go
No,
set dress?
no, it's fine. We'll find some other minx I can do it for.
Exactly. So this is the after show.
Well, no, I get to say that.
Okay, well then do it.
Sorry.
Okay. No, go for it.
Welcome to our third after show where I get scolded, and which will be really fun and entertaining.
Unless I cut it out, but
well, that's true because you have full control of everything. You're the most. You have the most. I give you the most control over my life of any human, so you should be very happy about that.
Yeah,
That
overjoyed.
is a victory.
Overjoyed.
Yes, but this week we are talking about a woman far wilder than me.
Yes.
Ms. Tallulah Bankhead, and her story is a great one. It's really awesome in the like central part of it, and fun and vivacious, and it's sad at the other ends of it, but it's great.
That's what I was wondering. Is the takeaway from her story one of sadness, or is it one of
I feel
joy, but like
it's more joy ultimately. I feel like it's a little sad, but she kind of owns everything that happened to her.
right. And
And I love
even
that.
yeah, there's very much a sense of yeah, I did this and had a good time while doing it, and
Right.
that acceptance of, well, yes, there's going to be a cost to pay for all of this.
Right. Which I like.
And
that I like about it.
It's unapologetic.
It is. The
in
part
a way
that's,
that she
yes,
was.
I agree. The part that's sad to me, I think, is that her, maid assistant would bind her hands together and things like that. Those elements are kind of sad.
Yes,
but the
okay,
whole
I
I'm
agree
what's
with you
left of her, I think, is great.
Yeah, the fact that she called everyone darling, apparently.
I mean, of course. That
And
she was
divorce.
ambisexual, which is way cooler word than bisexual.
Yeah, it's
Because bisexual sounds like you're like buying prostitutes.
Yeah, definitely.
Nothing,
and it's got a sense of
you want a professional, get a professional, all for
right.
it. But it's just I don't know, I like the word better.
Yeah, and I think it has a little bit more, shall we say, joie de vivre.
Yes.
Which I think is an important part of her story.
I agree.
Because I think when you look back at women in film from that era, and I was trying to think of other notable deaths of actresses and women in that time period, the three that come to mind are the most depressing and sad stories ever. So, I had a Peg Entwistle.
Yes.
The actress who jumped off the H.
Yes.
On the Hollywood sign. Virginia, I believe it's Rappe.
I think it is Rep. I don't know. I just read about her last night. That's funny you brought her up.
Yeah. She was the woman reportedly, I guess, murdered by Fatty Arbuckle.
Yeah, all of the above. I think they also thought he raped her. So
yeah, no, he not a great guy.
No,
and then
you'd think with a name like that he'd just be delightful, but he's not.
No, really, really sad story as well.
Terrible. Yes.
And then Elizabeth Short, which might be stretching the Hollywood film thing,
It's
but
okay.
the Black Dahlia being bisected certainly is not a upbeat feel good story. So in that regard, and granted, these are just the three names that just came to me when I was thinking about this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Tallulah Bankhead's the one you would choose first time every time.
1,000%, yes.
And I feel like and it's something that I noticed while doing the research, and that I think comes up in the episode. This idea that there is never a character that sort of befitted or she could fit all of herself into.
Right.
And that when you look at her impact, it's through things like 101 Dalmatians and her work on like variety shows as sort of a host star
Right.
search type thing, because it's more than just, there's so much more going on backstage
Right.
than
Because she's a caricature within a caricature within a caricature, but it's not a character. It's who she
yeah,
is.
yeah.
So
And
it's
something about her
weird.
seems, and maybe it's, I don't know this, I'm assuming this is probably biased, but all of her actions seem very not threatening to anybody.
Right.
And maybe naked cartwheels at parties, I'm just going to the wrong parties and I would find that threatening.
I feel you would not find that threatening.
I wouldn't think so, but I'm trying to, you know, be,
But
I
okay.
don't know.
Don't you feel like if you're going to these parties, you know there's going to be naked cartwheels and other like that can't have been the worst thing happening at these parties. Like
This is true.
a naked cartwheel party is like a full Babylon party, right?
Yes.
There are likely elephants and everything else,
Snakes. Yeah.
snakes, masks,
Hmm.
orgies,
This is a very,
people
very
of
good point.
varying shapes and sizes and whatnots.
Yes.
And so I feel like a naked cartwheel, I don't feel she was bringing that out at like, tea at 4 o'clock. Or maybe she
Right.
was. I don't know.
But in some ways, it's sort of like I would want the tea at 4 o'clock folks to be a little like, oh, what is this?
I mean, that is a lot more fun than clotted cream and jam on a scone.
I was going to say cucumber sandwiches. Exactly.
Both. Mm-hmm.
So is she our first, like, almost, again, not upbeat, but more upbeat story
I do
of
feel
that?
she is the more like live life to the fullest on her
Yes.
terms. Yes.
And I feel like we always talk about the fact that the idea of last words, it's something everyone has, but also that it can contain so much of somebody's personality in life if you want to. And sometimes I think
Right.
there's that element of sort of to Nostradamus. Maybe you're trying to put your personality and identity into your final words. Whereas
Yeah.
here, I don't think there's any of that. But when you read them, when you know her story, I feel like there's no way to not be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
In the best
True.
possible way.
In the best possible way. Yes.
And I feel like this episode was full of more asides and fun facts about her than other
I agree.
characters.
Well, because she has more asides and fun facts than a lot of people.
And maybe it's just that the fun facts
Are
are
more
fun.
of our interest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're not going to know as much about, fun facts of Mary Blandy, right?
True. Yes.
There probably weren't that many. And if they were,
And
no one really documented them.
right. And again, convicted murderer versus
Indeed, party
drunk
girl.
actress. Yeah.
Right. Not the same sort of form of entertainment at all.
Exactly. So, and maybe it's just that has a little bit more, that her death comes, like we've said, at the end of a life, I think you could argue, or probably she would have argued, very well lived.
Yes.
And really, this might be the only episode of the show, at least this season, that has two final words in it, because we have her mother's
True.
final words,
Right.
and then hers.
True.
Little speaking of fun facts,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's one of the more, I think it is one of the more, if not the most upbeat and fun. And
Yes. It's the one that makes you realize, like, just be who you are and enjoy it and fuck it all, basically.
Yeah, and if naked car wheels are your jam, please invite us to your parties.
If you don't like underwear, don't wear it.
You do you.
I mean,
whatever that means. You do you.
Right.
And there's no one quite like her now, I don't think.
Well, no, and that's one of the things I think is really interesting is it's like this different era that on the one hand was more free, on the one hand was more conservative. Like it kind of walks these different lines, right? But you hear these things and I think people think that's so shocking that someone would do that back then. But I feel like in a lot of ways it's more likely to someone to be that free than now, especially in this country.
Because of all the prohibitions that were in place at the time, that's sort of to your Babylon
right
point, everyone is going to rebel against a lot of this stuff.
So I guess the positive of the fact that our world is closing in on us in many capacities, not a political show, that perhaps we can be wilder again soon because we'll be rebelling against it all.
Here's hoping.
I mean, I think
here's hoping
about as wild as we're going to be.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. Because when you get to, I mean, the other thing too, it pops up in Babylon, if not other stories, but the studio kind of owning of actors' contracts, the studio PR department, and from I've taught, I guess I can say studied, but also taught a course on Hitchcock.
Yes.
Who, as far as very not protective, what's the word? Hoarding of his actors, or
that's one way to put it.
There's a very puppet master element to a lot of his stuff. That he had Edith Head and his other costume designers designing clothes for his actresses to wear on the weekends and when they head out for the night. And
which at first blush sounds really fun until you think about that it's Al.
Which I feel like is so much of Hitchcock. The films, all of it. It's really kind of cool and fun and sexy, dangerous spy. And then you think about it for a second, you just go, oh, no, that's not good.
I mean, it's terrible, but one of the hottest scenes in a film, not the Thomas Crown Affair, love that one the most, but is the Marnie scene is very sexy. Yes, the first one.
Yes.
The Marnie scene is very sexy. But when you think about what's happening in that scene, it is not a good scenario at all.
I think you could argue the same. No. And you could argue the same for Notorious.
Yes.
With Cary Grant and Grace Kelly.
Yes.
Which I think probably we could propose, and it would go undebated. Two of the most beautiful people of all time.
Oh dear Lord, yes, for sure.
I mean, but that's another film that when you go through the story, it is incredibly. And always when I teach it, I say, "Well, here's a film that could not be made today."
Right.
And people say, "Well, why?" And then you go over the plot, and even if they're like, "I don't know, maybe," and I then would always end with, "But no actress would ever play that part like that. They would insist that somebody rewrite it and give her, so she was just less at the mercy of every man around her."
Wasn't that Ingrid Bergman?
You're right. Yes.
Also, it's all right. It's all the same, but
beautiful people are
beautiful people. Same situation. Yes.
Yes.
To Catch a Thief, also two beautiful people.
Yes, very much so. And that is Grace Kelly. So
it is indeed. But yes, that's fun when I get to correct.
But again,
you correct me all the time.
Well, enjoy it.
I will while it lasts.
It's not that bad, is it?
No, but it's
you make
fun.
It sound like this. It's just, I know. But to get back to Tallulah.
Yes.
I think all of that stuff that uninteresting side railings aside, different side railing of a conversation. When you kind of think, just thinking back about it right now, I kind of go like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense that she
Right.
would behave the way she would behave.
Of course.
And that element of you will never be able to keep her under anyone's thumb.
Mm-mm. We should look up a different, totally different, but sort of, you'll see where the trajectory goes. We should look up Mae West.
That is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that is sort of apocryphal and never, I've yet to find anything definitive, that supposedly W.C. Fields, one of them was him looking through the Bible, and his last words were saying that he's looking for loopholes.
Funny.
But again, it's sort of like that. Yeah. We talked about headstones at some point too.
We did start talking a bit about headstones. Yes.
W.C. Fields' headstone famously proclaiming,
I don't remember.
"On the whole, I'd rather be in Philadelphia."
Oh, I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Let's just see here, Mae West. It's speaking of people who feel like not a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
But such great quotes.
Very much so.
So I feel there had to be something in her. She couldn't go out without a last word, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
Or maybe
seeing. I'll have to do some more.
Maybe she was tired and didn't have anything left to say.
Yeah, 1980, a severe fall, falling out of bed, taken to the hospital in
Which
LA.
is very late, by the way.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of can't believe that these people were. I think we talked about it on the show, and maybe we didn't, but this is the perfect time to bring it up. I can't remember how I was talking with the elder about. Did I tell you this story? And he was doing some research on different people and famous last words and when did they live, and sort of doing that thing where he's saying, you know, you were
our
alive.
Job for us.
Yes, you were alive when Salvador Dali was alive, which is one of those things that I cannot wrap my head around.
I know, it's crazy.
And then he was doing kind of events and how they lay on top of each other, you know, different timelines. And he very excitedly looked up from his iPad and just with this huge grin on his face and said, Rosa Parks could have watched Shrek.
That's amazing.
Think about that. Both her and
yes.
She could have even, I believe, watched Shrek 2 if she went to the theater as soon
I
as
would
it came
think
out.
so. Yeah, that's probably true.
But that's, you want to talk fun facts.
I mean, that is a fun fact, and that's pretty sweet.
So, yeah, no word on Mae West's last words.
Maybe someone knows her and will let us know.
Yeah. So August 80 had her first stroke, had a diabetic reaction to the formula in her feeding tube.
Oh, dear Lord. Yeah, this is not
a month later,
a happy way to go.
Yeah, second stroke that's paralyzed much of her right side.
Yikes.
Then she got pneumonia and was released, which is insane. And so August, September, and then died November 22nd of 1980.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I think Tallulah had more fun and
Tallulah definitely had more fun till the end.
Yeah,
I think she had more fun in general.
And maybe that's the takeaway from all of this. Just raise a glass and celebrate and
have fun.
Yeah, not a there, but for the grace of God, go I. What's the opposite of that? The like, damn, I wish I was your lover, you know?
Yes, that's exactly right.
of
Party
toast,
like it's 1999.
Dance like no one's watching.
My girl wants
dancing.
Right, my girl wants to party all the time. It's a dead man's party.
Your butt. Yes.
Boogie your butt's great. Yes. Boogie Dynamite.
go right back to last week. I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Well, this is true. Shake your booty.
Booty, yeah.
Here comes the rump shaker.
So what's the takeaway from this? We apparently really have a thing for songs about butts.
Apparently.
Tallulah Bankhead, a life
Like to show her butt.
Yes, and worthy of envy as far as lives go.
Right.
And Rosa Parks could have watched Shrek.
I feel that Rosa Parks did watch Shrek.
I feel like that's probably the case because she must have had grandkids and family, and
Yes, she lived in
let's all hang out and
Detroit.
watch Shrek.
We all love to
I
watch movies
know.
in Detroit. Cold winters, what else are we gonna do?
I love how you make it sound like Cleveland hates movies. That was just very accusatory.
We just do it better.
Des Moines does not get it.
No.
No, I get it. You can't forget
the
Motor
Twin
City.
Cities, right? The Twin Cities are out ice fishing and being active and things like that. We curl up with a
healing.
Yes, with a Fago and a hot fudge cream puff, and we go to town watching movies.
That sounds like a lovely afternoon.
Right. And I feel Rosa was down for that.
Yeah. So I think we've jammed enough fun facts into this particular episode.
I think we have. I think we've done
even though we sort of
facts.
Even though we kind of emptied the Tallulah fun fact train all over the episode itself.
I know, but they're such fun facts. They're worthy of exploring.
Exactly. And if nothing else, if we've just helped put out into the ether this idea that Rosa Parks could have watched Shrek.
Yes.
I think,
and everyone should do at least one thing Tallulah did, whatever that thing is.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be all of it.
No, just one.
Just one.
It's a good idea.
They might be happier. The world will be a better place.
Yes. All right. Well, on that note,
are we going to talk about who's next? Since we started doing that,
I guess we should. We can do that. So my thought was a particular presidential episode, but then I was like, oh, we should hold that till the end of November for obvious reasons. But is that too morbid to do it close to the date of?
Yeah, it feels weird.
But
it's also bad marketing not to do it, right?
Exactly. So we could I don't know, who should we do?
Or maybe we do it now and then we can circle back as like a double promotion, like do it different. What day does it fall? What day does the anniversary fall this year?
I can't even remember. Is it 26th? Is that right?
I think it's right around there.
22nd. Okay, I was not close at all. It falls on a Wednesday.
And we should just do it.
We kind of have to just.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bite the bullet, as it were.
But
maybe we run your favorite person.
Which one? CJ?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
or we could go old school and go further back away from the 20th century, and our friend from Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Or do we save that because Halloween is that's a Tuesday?
Is it? I thought it was a Wednesday. Oh no, you're right. It is a Tuesday. You're right.
But then we also have our other friend from Baltimore, or best known for Baltimore.
True. We have a lot of friends.
We do.
A lot of dead friends. I think CJ is good to do.
Okay. And then we can even run.
Because we've got a lot of old-timey people up.
Right. Well, but do we then, but to lead into the Halloween thing, which people I'm sure are going to love listening to this, should we do Poe and then Sarah Good, or should we flip them?
Poe then Sarah.
Okay, so next week the 25th, it will be Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes, not to be
Which-
confused with Edgar and Allan Frog.
True. Took me a second. I'm with you now. Yeah. And that's a fun one. Again, a
It is
lot
a
of
fun
fun
one.
facts, a lot of fun
Yes.
facts, a lot of. I feel like he's one of those people, at least I collect little stories about him that I love,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not they are true or they're apocryphal. It all sort of,
Yes.
and that film from last year also very similarly, it just puts it out there. There's something about Poe that I think people for some reason feel very close to.
He
And
shares a birthday with my mother.
he was found, not to give away the ending, found passed out in a gutter in Baltimore on my birthday. So
there, now we know why you two are so connected.
yeah.
He died on
And-
the 7th, though.
Yes.
Which is what my original lookup was. But yes. So this all makes sense now. You are posters. You are the
Yes.
poster children.
Exactly.
Mhm.
For all of the good things that come out of October.
Right.
But something about Poe sticks around and hangs out in a way that someone like, let's say, H.P. Lovecraft doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably good because there's many things about H.P. Lovecraft, I think, sort of romantic and a little sort of very Victorian and, gothy.
Mm-hmm.
Not that,
No,
but Edgar, there's some of that.
there's definitely a lot of that.
Yes. And so we'll talk about that. We will talk about Ravens next week.
Yes, we will.
So much fun Raven stuff. And
I guess should I start House of Usher?
nevermore.